Oh my goodness. I just had to jump up on here and start making a video because I can't stop laughing. And that's after bouts of crying and throwing up and going, oh, I wish I had more than the faith of a mustard seed. I wish that was the size of like a watermelon or something, or at least a good sized lime, or a kiwi lime at least. Come on. No, I've been struggling because I thought I was going to move from my apartment. And so I told them, hey, I need to break this lease. I got to move that way. And as it turned out, with some decisions that were made and just some intuitive reads on, yeah, this is not what you're going to be doing. You're going to do this instead. I had to make certain steps. I had to initialize and agree to in my mind a willingness to go ahead and move, 2,000 miles, go do that, because that at that moment was the most appropriate thing for me to do. And as the last couple months has kind of been unfolding, it was getting closer, and I went, oh, okay, there was a few things that happened, a couple planetary alignments, a little bit of an eclipse here and there, and it became evident to me that okay, no, I don't need to do that. Well, they'd already rented out my apartment, and so in order to not lose my deposit, I have to pay the break the lease fee, which is enormous. Been a minute since I've rented an apartment. I used to live in a house as a married person, and as a single person that's divorced now, that's been a strange train up. So anyhow, I was kind of freaking out a little bit, but I had deposits down at, a different apartment that I was supposed to move into, and that's holding and losing money there, and oh no, and worse as I'm having trouble finding another place. Once I decided, okay, I'm not going to go down there, I'll quick go find a place to live here, and found places that were great, theoretically, but I just really didn't want to have to move from the place that I live right now. It's got a great view of the mountains, it's got a pool, it's got all the amenities and stuff, and it's in my budget. That's why I rented it to begin with. And so I really was just like coaching myself through as I was driving, just saying, okay, I'm open and receptive to divinity, and I surrender my ego and go with God flow. Yup, I surrender my ego and go with God flow, and release toxicity and trust divinity has got me. And I just kept saying it and kept saying it and kept saying it, and it's not fake it till you make it. To me, that's not a standard that I really want to follow. That never worked for me. I had somebody that used to tell me, well, you just fake it till you make it, and that never worked. And as I was saying that and driving, I was thinking to myself, why is that? And it's because I didn't have any part of me that really believed the statements that I was believing. I have enough faith that has grown through these kinds of experiences that I can trust spirit. I can trust myself even better to know that spirit's got me, and that, okay, hold on, if I'm getting baffled or befuddled in any way, I can stop and just take a moment to say, okay, spirit, what am I missing? And that did kind of happen. As I was driving, I started getting that overwhelming thing, and went, oh wait, hold on, no. The kind remind from spirit was, oh yes, we're gonna change the paradigm. We're gonna change our mind, Kate, and say, we're okay. Don't wait. We're okay. The gifts of the universe are on their way. They're right here, and I can release fear. And it made more sense to my soul, and it sat there, and as I said it, from that point forward, it was easier to have more conviction. Can't say that I was, fully on board 100%, like this. However, I was much closer to being there than when I just sat down in my car. If I hadn't checked in and said, okay, hold on a second, I'm changing the paradigm, because that's all it is I just have to change my mind about what the miracles are that can happen in my life. Is it possible for me to move out of my apartment and find another one and have all the amenities and yada, 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 yada? Why, yes, it is. Because by the time I finished driving to get to the apartment, they look great online, they look great online. One of them was yeah, no, that's not fine. I don't want that. That's not even close. And then the other two were not only the perfect size, the perfect amenities, perfect location, etc. They were available. Now, they were going to be a stretch to make me able to move in just a couple of days. I only had a 1-day turnaround I could make on the one, and then I could move in tomorrow for the other. However, both had excellent reasons why I would want to move into those places. I would have had to have chosen between the two, and the only reason that I would have chosen the one to move in tomorrow is just to have more time to spread it out. So yes, it helps me build my faith and build that mustard seed that says, we have demonstrated proof, we have evidence. Spirit has proven to you, Kate, that don't wait in believing, knowing, and understanding that have to put it out there. Sometimes I have to hang my fanny wide and long going, oh, of several days, wondering, is this going to work? I'm not really sure. I don't really know. And that's how my faith begins to grow bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when I'm questioning it, sometimes the kinder mind will drop in and say, hey, yeah, we're changing the paradigm. Remember, that's just a matter of thought. Stop that and say, wait a minute. Do we have demonstrated proof on this? Do we have demonstrated performance of the past that spirits come through? Why, yes, we do. And so what finally ended up happening is those two places are available, as I said, and they're perfect in my budget, everything, and centrally located to a lot of cool stuff. And the place I live right now was my all-time favorite choice of all. However, I may not have it. Well, I was sitting here this afternoon and praying and just saying, I release it to divinity. I release my ego. I release and surrender to divinity and release and let go to God flow, to divinity, and release all karmic ties and negativity. And feeling a little bit freaky about, I sure do wish I didn't have to wait until tomorrow, because I figured that I would let them know one way or another tomorrow that if my apartment hadn't come through or didn't come through, that I would let the other two apartments know by tomorrow at 10:30, because I can't be, winging it and singing it all week and waiting until Friday to be homeless and living out of my car with my two cats and limited furniture as it is. It would get even more limited, So as it turned out, I was moving around my house, and Spirit said, yeah, you need to, kind of start cleaning up. Like, you got to move from here. And as it was, I was making tea, and whoosh, I ended up pouring some sugar. I was going to sweeten up my tea, and I poured cane sugar all over the top of the stove instead, accidentally, which means that I pulled out each little burner from the stove and started cleaning and went, well, I'm going to have to clean this anyway. And so the good faith gesture is that regardless of whether I had to clean it or not from moving, I do have to consider that I am moving on Friday. And so clean that as if you were, and don't be leaving that like some ratchet white trash soul that just leaves sugar granules there. You spilled them, get them picked up. And so I did. And when I got done, Spirit reminded me, hey, you got to check your email. This is fun. And I sure did. I checked my email, checked my voicemails first. Actually, I had voicemail and I had an email. And what do you know? Guess what? You can stay right where you are. I about wet myself and laughed, because every time I reach that, oh, okay, that's really awesome. It's food for my mind to feed that little monkey to go, nah, you just eat that, just have that, have your banana, and be quiet, going about how it wouldn't work out, or what happens if, the OCD bug doesn't bite me very often, but it was starting to get me, because this down to the last minute stuff, it's a great test of my faith, and 808 just passed by. It's awesome. However, I'm still a human being, and, being in the driver's seat and somebody else, a driving car that I don't have control over, most of us have some issue with that, and I don't want to put it out there. It could be everybody else on the planet doesn't have a problem. I do. That I want to be in control, boo. What do you mean I have to listen to you instead? What? And it's primarily because I can't trust other humans to be 100%. I really can't, or to always be looking out for my best interest. That's not how we're wired. And so it can be difficult under that old paradigm to believe that anything could be so infallible, so trustworthy, so purely loving. And that's the new paradigm we're going into. The age of Aquarius dictates that, this is a new understanding of how to relate with other human beings, and it's not that old way. And it's also how to relate with ourselves, and going forward with trust and faith and honor and dignity and respect, regardless if you're losing your mind there, Kate. You still have to act with honor and dignity and respect, and don't get janky and weird just because you're afraid. So I did find out, and I was just blessed all day. And the other thing I'll tell you before I go away is that Florida was sending me some happy mail about my driver's license and stuff, because they didn't believe that my car was covered, and that's where I'm a legal resident. Doesn't matter. They were sending me happy mail like I'd been getting all my mail from them. People tamper with my mail all the time. I've got identity problems and, identity theft for a minute. And so they sent me this warning letter, like, your driver's license is going to be suspended, in 7 days if you don't get this paperwork to us. And I thought, what? Again, the OCD bug just went and bit me hard. I about wet myself. And of course, when I got it, we're on a holiday weekend now. It's July 4th, and oh my goodness, and I only have 2 more days, So I go to the UPS store today, and I want you to know those people told me to overnight that after I sat there and copied all the documentation, filled it out, did everything, acted in good faith. Because when I checked the last time, the status of it, it was still, in a quandary of, yeah, we're not sure what you're doing. We're kind of quasi going to temporarily suspend this until you prove to us that, you exist in real insurance land and that you're covered. Oh, okay. I didn't know, and I didn't get that. So I didn't check again. I just assumed, it's the same. So when I got to the UPS store and I'm there going, oh no, I got to the checkout line. That woman told me, what? That it was going to be $126. And that was just to get it there next day air, to get it, to where I would get the tracking on it and the return receipt and who signed and all of that would probably require my firstborn. And I'm not sure she's on board with that idea. So, it was a lot. And Spirit just dropped in. I heard the appalling number, 126. What? I said, $126? That's what you want to get this document to Florida for their error. That this has been covered. 1111 has been covered the entire time. There's no issue. Please don't make one. And so, kind remind, Spirit dropped in and said, oh yes, I'm going to need to step aside because I'm on the verge of losing my mind. Didn't make that announcement, but that's what I was thinking was, there's something terribly wrong here, that, okay, I guess if I have to do that, surrender. What was I going to do? I mean, be very grateful that I have the funds to cover it, the extra funds, if I needed to. And as it was, dude, I checked the status online and it's totally fine, because I called my insurance company and said, could you please send that documentation over, fix that little glitch that's there, because he found it. He goes, oh yeah, I found the glitch. I'm like, well, could you fix that and then beam it over, Star Wars style? Can you get it over there? And maybe that, magically when I call them, they'll have it straightened out. And they didn't have it straightened out, probably because it was a holiday weekend, blah, 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 because they say they take, at least 24 hours for it to take effect. So it did. And when I was in the UPS store, I jumped up and down, and said, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, guides. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you to every energetic source. It's a high vibration, pure frequency that is loving and kind and forgiving me and letting me forgive myself, that I can receive the gifts of, oh yeah, that's taken care of. I took me and my 126 potentially lost dollars and squealed out of that store like a little girl on her first day of kindergarten. Like, yes, all right, this is the coolest. And it really has cemented in for me. And I thought, maybe somebody else could possibly be inspired or be given a little tidbit of, I don't know, a little something to perhaps keep you going for a minute or two. That Spirit is good. I don't get everything I want, because I rarely go out asking for what I want or demand. I ask to move in spirit and to surrender to that process. And I start with, okay, I'm moving in this direction. And then I'm guided over here, and have to, in good faith, Kate, make the effort. Start cleaning that stove like you're moving out, start, looking for an apartment like you're moving out. Start mailing that documentation like they didn't receive it, and be willing to pay it regardless, because that's the work that needs to be done. And there is the grace of, oh, it's done already. Thank you. And that grace happens in that synchronicity, in that flow, that divinity. And I find that the more I'm able to release and let go of my human control and allow my self-driving avatar to have its own mind with the divine, runs my avatar just fine. And any other way is my monkey mind. And it's so distressing, it's so disturbing, and means that I feel very anxious, perturbed, annoyed, and, nauseous a lot if I allow that to take over. So I'm very grateful to have gotten Spirit's kind reminds. As we go into the Sirius Stargate, there's a lot of things that I want to be paying attention to besides the bother of, oh no, where am I going to live? Where am I going to work? Where am I going to do this? How am I going to get all my stuff out? No, I don't have to. I can concentrate exclusively on receiving the energies from divinity and saying thank you and stepping up my game of gratitude. And immediately, thank you, Spirit. and make some sort of an offering, I'm sure, on my altar today to say thank you for showing me the way. 1444. Thank you very much for visiting my channel. I hope you have a spectacular day, whatever part of the day you're in, and enjoy, friends, being within your own skin because you're divine. Totally fine. Take care, and I'll see you again next time. Be well.